All right, well, hello everyone. Welcome to this current installment of Truth Noir. Joined by some very special guests this evening. I know usually on this show we talk about like all the doom and gloom and stuff that's wrong with the world and what should be better, but I do use every chance I get to showcase stuff that's going on that is good in the community and stuff and people and places, and that's what we're doing tonight. So we are joined by two pinnacles of the East Los Angeles Boyle Heights community. First, on my immediate left here is Mr. Ken Carreon.
Very nice to meet you.
The proprietor.
Thank you for having me.
Proprietor and operator of Alan B's restaurant in Boyle Heights, celebrating their 50th anniversary, recently honored by the city. And over on my far left, Mr. Josof Sanchez, a activist, do-gooder, and a person that's you know, interested in doing good and helping people. And so we're always glad to have him on and his friends on to let us know what they're doing around town that is helping out. And so thank you both so much for being on.
Well, thank you. You know, the total purpose of this is nothing more than looking towards establishing, we're hope producers. And what we do is we look for people that who have literally laid out a foundation of hope for their entire family and the community at large. So with Operation Street Kids, what we do, it's a philanthropy kids club. So we teach philanthropy through film, media, entertainment, and then show and tell. So tonight, it's really dynamic that we're able to show and tell the most dynamic story here in the East Los Angeles area, the Boyle Heights area. It's literally a landmark, and I was honored to have spoken to the parents and just to hear the entire, you know, and I believe that this is what our young people need today. They need to hear and they need to see. So I will leave it with that, you know, and as you know, the kids call me OG, which means opportunity giver. And I want to give you the opportunity to listen today and to tune in to what is being spoken. Believe me, it'll change your life.
I like that. Opportunity giver.
That's right.
Literally you are. And, you know,
Absolutely.
you're definitely doing it today. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So Ken, why don't you tell us a little bit about the restaurant you run and about how it began in the community?
Well, my parents, back in 1965, had been talking to my grandfather. My grandfather had a place on First Street. He had a space that was there available. And he gave him an opportunity to talk to my grandfather to see if they could run a business. My mom had great recipes and my dad had strategies for, you know, just marketing and working, and very hardworking couple. So they got to my grandfather, talked to him, and got it all established, and they started Alan B's. And I was 7 years old at the time, and I remember seeing them, you know, working very, very hard. I mean, I would see them come in at night, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd be half asleep and, you know, waiting for them, and they'd kiss me goodnight. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, they'd be leaving, kissing me goodbye, you know. And I saw how much commitment and how much dedication they had, and they just, man, they would, at night, sometimes people don't know this, but at night they would turn the lights off and sit there and cry because they were so tired. And after they got the crying out, right back to work.
Right.
And you know, I didn't realize that as a child, all that, you know, they were doing all this. But as I'm growing up and I started to work, you know, in Alan B's, I saw them, you know, just working my mom was just amazing. She just worked so many hours, and just had the ability to just run that business. I mean, she just, one time she just had a line of people, and in the line was one of my cousins. His name was Ruben, and he happened to be in line. And she said, "Come here, I need you." 'Cause there was a line of people, and she only had 2 other people and herself, because she didn't expect the business to the word got around. So that happened, and little by little they were, just the business was growing and growing, and we were just one little place where we used to cook everything, right there, and in the heat, in July, it would be, about 120 degrees in there. We'd be taking orders and cooking in there, and I would work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I would work the weekends, and boy, it was tough, but you know what? I saw my mom do it, so I couldn't really complain.
Right.
But, my mom and dad they're just an amazing couple. They're also going to be celebrating their 64th wedding anniversary this Saturday. 64 years.
Yeah, that is a whole separate feat into itself.
Yeah. And then to have a business and run it together, they butted heads a few times,
Sure.
But they never really let us know it. But I know they did. I mean, it's a natural thing. But to last 64 years, I've been truly blessed to have great parents, great grandparents. My grandparents were amazing as well. And I'm just fortunate to have been brought up in a family that had values, and they had, just a work ethic that, it's just something you don't see. It's not something common. And to be able to last through all the different ups and downs of the economy, and be able to be there 50 years later and be able to celebrate this 50-year anniversary here, it's amazing. And
the burrito is considered now throughout the country.
There were 69,000 roughly establishments across the country that serve burritos. And ESPN did this deal it was a burrito bracket, whatnot, and it was based on the NCAA basketball playoffs, for the 64, March Madness. Oh, okay. So what they did was they had 69,000 establishments from the East Coast all the way out to the West Coast, and they just looked at different places, and they tried different burritos, and there was different rounds, and I don't know how many rounds they went through, but I think it was like 4 rounds. But we got to the final 64. They had to the final 64, and then they did the playoff, then the 32, and then they reduced it down to 16, and we made it into the final 4, and we made number 3 in the nation.
Incredible.
That is, amazing.
And that was just, it was really amazing.
Now, which one is that someone that everybody is asking for, right? They always, they've been
the bean and cheese with green chili. The beans are a staple, and the chili is a staple in our place. That's the backbone of all of our dishes. Mainly, the beans are just so unique the way they taste. And I crave them all the time myself.
I'm craving them right now.
And really, and it's so good. It really is. I used to live in Arizona. I moved out to Arizona for a while, and if my parents didn't show up with at least 3 dozen, they weren't welcome. They had to bring me at least 3 dozen burritos. But
get you through to the next time they came by.
It's definitely something that I enjoy. I consume it, and I love to share it with people.
Who were the people that went there? I know your dad was talking about Eric Estrada. Film people.
Oh yeah,
people, police, people from all walks of life.
Well, I used to shine shoes at the police station when I was a kid. When I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I used to shine shoes at the police station. And Josof, who wrote Police Story, was a detective, and he worked half a block away, and he just talked to my mom and dad all the time. So he wrote the book, The New Centurions, was his first book. And The New Centurions, was about a few police officers that were going through challenges as police officers. They showed the different personalities and challenges they had at home and whatnot. But it was George C. Scott, who was Patton, of course, and Eric Estrada's first movie.
Oh, wow.
Stacy Keach, my camera, was there, and this other gentleman by the name of Clifton James. But Clifton James sticks out in my head because he had like 13 burritos that day when they were filming.
Oh, wow.
Which I was watching him just eating these burritos. I go, man, how's he doing? He was a heavy-set gentleman, but he ate 13 burritos.
He held his own.
Yeah, he held his own. But just to be around that, and see that they actually came to talk to my dad, and they filmed there, and it was so neat. I remember as a kid, too, they filmed part of it through a parking lot. And I put my football trophies, baseball trophies in my window, my bedroom window, so they could pan when they panned across. They would see my trophies, and I got to see in one episode of the movie. I got to see my trophies. All right, they came out in the movie, but it was neat to see that. And
my what really touched me, was not just the taste of the burrito, right? But what touched me is that when I was there waiting to be served, I noticed a variety of different people, of different cultures, and then some of the kids from the neighborhood coming from the school, just parking there, and it's really, really a beautiful, diverse setting that you could tell it's all about the love of food, but yet there's a warmth with the community. And I think that's dynamic.
Well, what I love is, I really started working heavy in there when I was in a junior year in high school. But I got to see all the customers then, and through the years, I've seen the generations. I've seen the children that used to come back then now have grown up and had children, and the children that they had are having children. And you see the generations that have gone through, and I just look and see, and I'm amazed. I'm amazed. And I see some of the people I used to serve back in 1976 are coming today, and they're there, and they look at me, and they go, "Hey, what's going on?" And we see each other. It's like a reunion, It's so neat. And then one Sunday, it was about maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, we were there. I was there at Allenby's. I was there, and I saw this one lady come in, and they took our table. They said, "Well, we're going to take this table too." The next thing I know, this gentleman, I think he was celebrating his 90th birthday or his 91st birthday. He said, they asked him where he wanted to go eat. He said, Allenby's. And he brought all his family down. They took over all the tables.
Oh, wow.
And they were there ordering, and they're just, having a blast.
Sure.
And it was fun interacting with them, it's just because they all, from the grandpa of 90 years old with all his, grandchildren, his family, and they were all at Allenby's. It was nice to see. It really is. And a lot of people they've never experienced what I've experienced, to see the generations and see that, and see it's your parents' business, and you have the opportunity to carry the torch, and you carry that legacy that they've established. You're very fortunate to be able to in that situation.
Yeah,
what was really neat too was was that you were honored, and your family was honored at City Hall. And it was amazing how some of the councilmen got up and literally testified that when they were 10, 11, coming home from school, that was their place to stop all the time.
Yeah,
incredible.
That was
really incredible.
It was. And I had a chance to actually address the councilmen, which was really neat, to thank them for recognizing, and honoring my parents. And it was great to be able to share with them, a little bit of the story that I shared earlier about them coming home at 2 and leaving at 6 in the morning. And they were just like, they were honestly sincere looking at it. Some were biting in their burritos because we took them burritos. They were actually eating their burritos while listening to me. So, they liked the food, obviously.
Cheese burritos in City Hall.
Yeah, so it was really neat to see my parents' faces, to see their faces. And, my dad was emotional, and so was I. It was just such a neat opportunity to have that happen, and just so great to see my parents honored.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, I can personally attest that it is a mighty fine burrito, and also,
thank you.
Just a great place to meet people. I met Josof and Julie, for the first time, and that's turned into an ongoing collaboration, right. and so just definitely.
Well, guess what? I met them there too.
Really?
That's where I met them at. They came in a couple of weeks back, I think it was, and then they came in again, and we started talking, and we actually sat down and we started talking about a strategy to promote this, the celebration we're going to have on Saturday the 12th. We're going to start at 11 o'clock. We're going to have mariachis from 12 to 3. And the Hollenbeck Youth Center, which is adjacent to us, is actually going to allow us to use their center, and they're putting tables up in there for us, and just to help the community, be able to have seating. And we're going to have some cake there for everybody. We've bought, I think, 5 sheet cakes for about 250, 300 people. We don't know how many people are going to come, but you know what it is? We're just going to make it a party and have fun and honor my parents.
I saw that you in the sign that they're giving gifts, and
yeah.
it's they could they could go ahead and bring their family, and there's some burritos.
Right. What we did.
Burritos being pumped out, huh?
Yeah, we had. What we did was we actually put together some tickets for 250. The first 250 customers that come on Saturday will be given a ticket that they can actually get two burritos at 50 cents a piece, which would be $1. They can get two, either bean and cheese with red sauce or bean and cheese with green sauce. Get the green sauce, I prefer that. Anyway, and you can get a couple of drinks as well for 50 cents. So you can, walk away with a couple burritos and a couple of drinks for $2.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to do for the first 250, and and we'll go from there. We have some other stuff. We also have some T-shirts and hats that are going to be available, and we're going to basically, just try to make this as fun as possible.
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment for anything to last for 50 years and to be owned by the same people. So congratulations, and we will look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Anyone local to the area, Hollenbeck Youth Center, Saturday from 11
to 4 or 5. We'll play it by ear.
To whenever it ends.
Yeah, exactly. We'll play it by ear. But, you're all welcome to come down. Please do. And it's 2025 East 1st Street, and in Los Angeles, 90033 is the zip code. Look it up, and you're welcome to come down Saturday. We hope to see you there.
All righty. So, Josof, what's going on with you these days? I know you got Operation Street Kids, and what are some of the projects that you guys have been involved with?
It was a blessing that I was able to get word from one of the films that we produced, short, which went to Cannes. It's called Carreon, and it's back in the '60s of a grandmother of one of the young men that we work with the collaboration of Santa Monica College, the shadowing with the kids from his neighborhood, my neighborhood, around the LA neighborhood, kids that are from 12 to 24 that want to be involved in film. As I say, film is our backyard. We should let the kids play there. And so basically, we now have 2 films that have gone to Cannes. We just completed 8 films. And we're just about ready to launch another one that we'll be shooting more likely probably at the White Memorial. It's of a young man that was from East LA and no father. It's a hope story, and the kid eventually becomes a champion of the school in wrestling. But before he receives that particular award in the Scouts, he collapses, and when he collapses, they find that he's filled with cancer.
Oh wow!
And so it's a very, very it's a piece that shows kids that life is beautiful and embrace it. Don't destroy your life. So we're working on that at the moment right now, yeah. And then we're doing another one on Alzheimer's, and that's. So, we get the kids to engage in such,
Sure.
And I'll take the kids, to his place, and then, begin to point out to them and let them know how the parents would I start sharing their story. And there's nothing more than the dynamics of storytelling, and he started sharing everything with me, and it was like, this is incredible. And I've learned that words are powerful.
Absolutely.
A negative word is powerful. Mm-hmm. But a positive word is more powerful. It could do damage, or it's like water. It could destroy, or it could quench your thirst. So that's what we've been up to. And it's been very exciting. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Very
so
cool.
I'm looking towards this Saturday. And I'm looking towards seeing the smiles of the children. And I think that just the bolt of it is to be able to see the parents will be there, and I sat there and I just wanted to stay there all day with them. Man. I mean, because, they grew up right there, and, and what they did is they brought up 2 kids, that were not involved in the gang they get trapped in gangs. They didn't get caught with the virus, which I call, which is the violence. And granted, it's all over us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to see them as parents, to nurture them and give them that opportunity, it touched me, because I work in the juvenile. I volunteer in the juvenile house. I go to the juvenile house and encourage the kids. And I see them. And no parents. It's they're 12-year-olds. 14-year-olds. They need to hear these stories, and that's why I want to stick on the story here right now with him, because it has to be told. And parents, parents need to hear the story. Parents need to come to the event and to see and meet, that, the magnitude of your tribulations in life will always determine the magnitude of your victories.
Exactly.
You see,
that's
that's
profound.
what has to be. That's what has to be implemented to our children and parents.
Well, what I see, what's happening with us too, we were very fortunate because my parents did teach us, right from wrong, and they brought us up the right way. Even though they were so busy, they still had the ability to do that with my grandparents. But I see, truly, you got to see this, that it's my parents, it's my brother and myself, and then it's my nephew Ryan who's there. So there's actually 3 generations that are there, and we're still together, and we're working together in unison for a common goal, to serve the community, help people out, and be able to just be there. And I have a great time when I'm there. I have fun. I get tired. Yes, I'm human, but I do love being there.
It's a business. It's a legit, bona fide, phenomenal business where we have to teach that there's no free lunch. There's no free lunch, you know.
Yeah.
And
Can I share something real quick? My dad always told me something, and he told me this, and I've always stuck with me. You can give a man a fish today and he'll eat, or you can show him how to fish and he'll always eat.
Right.
And I'm fortunate that he showed me how to fish. And I like to share that, how to teach other people how to fish too, if I get that opportunity with people. I want to work with JoJo here to help other children to be able to, see the hope and be able to, I want to give back.
We have an oral history, and we have a speakers bureau in juvenile hall. We get the young girls and the young men together, and then it's a youth council inside the juvenile prison. And he's going to be one of the guests. We're going to highlight what they've been doing Saturday and everything. And then he's going to come. Then he speaks to the kids and empowers them about growing up and about business and the dynamics of doing the right thing.
And, everybody's an artist of their own life, and you could show them. They have that brush, and they could paint whatever scenario they want. And, we all have that opportunity. And I want to share with them that they have a brush, and they can paint whatever they want to paint. And it's there.
Our kids are the greatest gift that has been given to us. Our kids. And they should be nurtured with show and tell. We don't have a youth problem. We have an adult problem.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
I agree, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, there's definitely not enough of what you guys are doing, and so I applaud both of you for being around and doing it and perpetuating that in the community.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to thank you for inviting me, JoJo. I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much.
I want to thank all the parents out there. I want to thank educators that really have a passion with compassion, because it motivates me to do what we just did today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do we have any more stories about the recent events, or I know we have some pictures?
Do we have any pictures? Let's do some pictures.
Sure.
You can touch on the pictures.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
All right, so this is
Allen B's. This is the entrance to the City Hall, and incredible what happens in there.
There's my dad and my mom.
So these
There,
are the
and
originators
JoJo's right
of
there.
Allen B's, right?
Yeah, that's
it.
Allen B, and there's there they are right there.
Incredible, man.
They're 80 and 81. My mom is 80, and my dad just turned 81.
And well spoken. Well spoken in both Spanish
My
and
dad's
English.
a character. My dad's a character. He's a great guy.
He had so many stories. I just wanted to sit there, and just,
The story is, behind every great man is a greater woman.
That's right.
And you know what it applies here.
That's the epitome of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good storyteller too.
But she's a strong woman.
She knows how to. She knows how to implement the story.
That gentleman right there is a councilman. He came up and said, that once you give gifts to a councilman, he says, you could have your way with us, especially if you go through our stomach. And because we gave him a burrito, and he goes, no, don't say that. But they were all happy because we gave him a burrito. So there was definitely, There's my brother in the background there.
There's a
burrito there. He was all happy.
One of the finest burritos in the country, you guys.
That's right.
Yeah. There's my brother there and myself. Yeah, there I am there. There's that's Councilman Weezer. He was the one that actually came and approached us to give us the acknowledgement and certificate from the city.
And he shared right there that when he was 8 years of age, he would, after school, man, he would hang out there.
He says there was 3 segments of crowd that we had. We had the lunch crowd, we had the after school crowd, which he was a part of, and then we had the dinner crowd.
Right.
So, and he shared his story about how he's a customer, of Allenby's as well. Yeah, that was neat to be able to look up and see us as a family.
Oh, wow.
We were looking up in the screen and we saw us as a family. It was amazing to be able to see that.
Now, was that broadcast anywhere, or was?
Yeah, they broadcast. They broadcast.
I think they do
Very
broadcast.
cool.
Yeah. That's Gil Cedillo. He's actually a gentleman that worked with my dad. My dad actually worked at a union. And Cedillo actually worked with my father in that union.
Oh, wow.
And my dad led the way for some of his group that he worked with.
This gentleman is a very powerful individual. I mean, he's done a lot for the community. What was so powerful is that he said that when he was young and working with his father, that it was his father that he fastened his eyes on because he learned all the dynamics in business from him. He said he took that to the White House.
And what was great too, he said, you know what, what I look forward to every week is having my grandchildren and taking them to Allenby's to have the same green chili and cheese burrito that I had. That's what he said, and
That's great.
And he was actually tearing up when he said it. It was it really hit him, and it was just nice. And there we are.
So this is the certificate that was presented to your
as a
parents.
family there. And, there's there we are. There's all of us there. My girlfriend Roz is there too. And
That's when he was sharing this story about when he would go to he would stop there all the time as a little kid, and then when he eventually came from Arizona, he began to that was his hanging spot.
And my dad, I can see his face, he's emotional because
Yeah.
he's being touched by the story that's being told to him right there. And my dad was emotional the whole morning. And seeing my parents made me emotional.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, it's pretty cool when the city throws you a party, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. We're very blessed. There they are. Look at that.
That's a great picture.
That's Allenby right there. That's them. That's my mom and dad. Cedillo was really, really he just clung to my dad. That he was with my dad a lot. He was with the family. He just was, he was energized with us, and it was nice. It was really nice to see that. And there's my nephew and my brother. They're together there, and it's amazing. That's the generations there, and we're together.
Yeah.
That's Jojo and Cedillo and myself, and talking about the generations. How we're together. It's just sharing the story.
There's
And there they
Mom
are.
and Dad again.
There they are. Incredible.
Yeah, it looks like a great gathering.
It was fun. I had a great time.
Let's see. We're back to the beginning.
Yeah.
There we go.
do we have a poster there of the site?
We ran through all of them. We could check.
Okay, no, that's fine, that's fine.
Would you like me to?
No, that's fine.
That's okay. I mean,
That's
it's all right. No problem.
Let's just roll again on where it's going to be at.
Yeah.
Sure.
Once again, it's going to be at L&B's at 2025 East 1st Street, Los Angeles 90033, and we're going to actually be at the Hollenbeck Youth Center and our establishment. They were gracious enough to open their doors to us and allow us to use their facility, to use their restrooms to accommodate our crowd. But you got to come down Saturday. It starts at 11 o'clock, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And I just want to have fun with all the people that made this possible.
Now, can they call or go to your website or
Yeah, you can go to AL and the AND BEAS.com, and you'll have everything there as well. You can look at our website there, and our menu's on there too, and we have a poster or a banner on there that tells about all the celebration too. But go ahead and go to the site and see there and check it out. And we're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep, I'm planning on being there as well.
Great.
I can't pass up opportunity to get a burrito.
I want to thank you guys because I mean you guys were so cool, man. I mean, usually some people you start to convey with them, they think that you want to take their table from them or what have you, But I was just very impressed, that a place such as L&B's, where people are eating burritos, I mean, it was really, really a touching moment.
Well, it seems to be a very unifying force.
Definitely
bonding over food.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And right now, a lot of the conflict between the police, and the community, and I was there the other day, man, and there was a police officer right there, just in the midst of, I mean, who's who there, man? Just right, everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely a melting pot.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And the police officers come all the time, and I want to share real quick too that the New Centurions, when that came out, the movie came out, and when all that happened, the movie studios actually started to make orders for us to do on location. They started, and that built a lot of the clientele that way. But the police officers, all when that came out too, the police officers started knowing more about our place. They would come from the different stations, and they come in, and so it was just a lot of synergy that was built, and little by little, this thing has been.
I saw librarians there. I met with librarians there, social workers, people of all walks of life. I mean, it's dynamic.
We've had people come in, take burritos to Hawaii, Thailand, Japan, China. They've taken them pretty much everywhere, and we get these stories. I can't believe all the people. We freeze them. Can you freeze them for us? And we're going to go run by, or we're going to the airport. We'll pick them up, and we have dry ice, and the stories. So we do all that stuff. It's great. It's great to be able to do that.
So if you're taking an international voyage, you're able to accommodate people that way also.
Definitely, we'll get your burritos ready for you. Okay.
Right on. Well, alrighty, you guys, we're running out of time for this hour. Do either of you have any closing words?
I just want to say thank you.
Well,
more than anything, thank you. That's all I want to say.
Appreciate
want to say.
to
Thank you for inviting me, George.
I want to just let you know that if no one's laughing at your dream, it's not big enough.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a fair statement.
So thank you very much for having me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you both for being on. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
And
that's right. Remember the homeless this year, the children.
Yeah, help out where you can, you guys, because there's people out there who need it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, we're doing a project called Blessings Under the Bridge. All the kids are being involved.
Excellent.
I'm out.
Alrighty, you guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back at you next week with more weird stuff, but I wanted to talk about some positive things today. So thanks once again to my guests. Again, if you're local to the area, down to the Hollenbeck Youth Center and help celebrate the 50th anniversary of L&B's.
Yep.
And We'll see you next time. Wherever you're going, get there safe. Take care.